We've got another amazing true Bible story today. It's from the book of Matthew. The Bible tells us that Jesus had been teaching and talking to people near a big lake all day. As the day was ending, Jesus told his friends, his disciples, to sail across the lake, and he would catch up with them later. The Bible tells us that Jesus wanted some time alone to pray, to talk to God, his Father. As the day was ending, Jesus' disciples did as Jesus told them. They hopped into the boat and began sailing across the lake. He would catch up with them later. While the disciples were making their way across the lake, the sun set, and they were out on the water in the dark. Jesus' disciples did as Jesus told them. Not only was it dark, but then a big wind started blowing, while the disciples were making and caused huge waves on the lake. It was a scary storm. Late into the night and through the rough storm, the disciples saw something strange coming toward them over the water. And caused huge waves. The disciples were even more scared at the weird sight and cried out,
"It's a ghost!"
But then, over the storm, they heard a voice say,
"Don't be afraid."
They knew the voice. It was Jesus. Jesus said,
"Take courage,
and cried out,
"It's a ghost!"
Peter called out to Jesus,
Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water.
Jesus said to Peter,
"Yes, come." Take courage.
Peter stepped out of the boat and walked on top of the water toward Jesus.
If it's
It
really
was a
you,
miracle.
tell me to come to you.
It didn't take long for Peter to notice that giant waves still rocked the water, and the wind still howled. Peter was terrified and lost his focus on Jesus. It was a miracle. Peter began to sink into the wild water.
Save me, Lord!
Jesus quickly reached out and grabbed Peter to save him from sinking in the water. Peter was terrified and lost his focus on Jesus. When Peter and Jesus got into the boat, the storm stopped, and the disciples worshipped Jesus, saying, and grabbed Peter to save him from sinking in the water. Even though Peter had started to sink in the water, seeing Jesus had given him a lot of courage. Jesus gives us courage! And the disciples worshipped Jesus, saying,
"You really are the Son of God."
We've got another Even though Peter had started to sink in the water today, seeing Jesus had given him a lot of courage. The Bible tells us that Jesus had been teaching and talking to people near a big lake all day. As the day was ending, Jesus told his friends, his disciples, to sail across the lake, and he would catch up with them later. Jesus wanted some time alone to pray, to talk to God, his Father. Jesus' disciples did as Jesus told them. They hopped into the boat and began sailing across the lake. While the disciples were making their way across the lake, the sun set, and they were out on the water in the dark. Not only was it dark, but then a big wind started blowing and caused huge waves on the lake. It was a scary storm. Late into the night and through the rough storm, the disciples saw something strange coming toward them over the water. The disciples were even more scared at the weird sight and cried out,
"It's a ghost!"
But then, over the storm, they heard a voice say,
"Don't be afraid."
They knew the voice. It was Jesus. Jesus said,
"Take courage, I am here."
Peter called out to Jesus,
Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you, walking on the water.
Jesus said to Peter,
"Yes, come."
Peter stepped out of the boat and walked on top of the water toward Jesus. It was a miracle. It didn't take long for Peter to notice that giant waves still rocked the water, and the wind still howled. Peter was terrified and lost his focus on Jesus. Peter began to sink into the wild water.
Save me, Lord!
Jesus quickly reached out and grabbed Peter to save him from sinking in the water.
You have so little faith. Why did you doubt me?
When Peter and Jesus got into the boat, the storm stopped, and the disciples worshiped Jesus, saying,
You really are the Son of God.
Even though Peter had started to sink in the water,